Good morning. I'm Pete Najarian. This is the take for this Wednesday morning. And if we look back to Tuesday, what a terrible Tuesday it was. 52-week lows. We actually had the Dow dip underneath 29,000. All of that in a market that just seems to be having a really difficult time finding any footing of late. Dow finished down 125 points. NASDAQ did finish in positive territory, but both of them really reacted most of the day very, very poorly. We had crude right around 78.50. We had nat gas well underneath $7. We do have the 2-year at 4.3 yesterday. And as a matter of fact, the 10-year really edging up towards that 4% level certainly has a lot of people more and more nervous watching this move to the upside. No doubt about that. You also had Bitcoin. It was up. It was down. It actually finished underneath 19,000 yesterday. That certainly was a storyline. We have volumes that continue to be very, very powerful. 41.3 million contracts. Tesla leading the way, 1.7 million trading yesterday. Apple was 1.3 million of that as well. The index trades were the dominant side of things, though. The individual names normally are what we are looking at and seeing in terms of the unusual option activity. Wow. ETFs certainly were really in front of everything yesterday, from European to you name it. The ETFs all over the different sectors and everything certainly did dominate what was going on in trade. You had the volatility index just underneath 33. It was 32.50. You had the VXN, the volatility of the NASDAQ, right around 37. That gives you a little bit of an idea of just how the up and down and the movements, the shifts, including what we're seeing today, absolutely extraordinary. I'll get into today in just 1 second. Yesterday, we did have energy up about 1% yesterday. It was Exxon and it was BP kind of leading the charge there. Staples, however, getting hit. Names like Coke and Pepsi, those types of names. Communications were hit. Names like Meta or Facebook, if you want to call it that, Pinterest, those kind of names. Technology kind of hung in there just a little bit with Apple and Tesla, but just a little bit, up about 0.25%. So you look over at the ag space. We talked about this yesterday. CF and Mosaic, kind of the leadership role. You had the cruise ships also in positive territory, names like Royal Caribbean and Norwegian. Then you had the airlines, American and United, kind of shifting and moving to the upside. And then there was Tesla. Then there was Micron. There was AB&B. So you're saying to yourself, well, what was really pulling on the Dow? Well, it wasn't specifically these names, but when you look across and you see, for instance, the Keurig Dr. Pepper getting hit, Clorox getting hit, Domino's getting hit, McDonald's getting hit, PG getting hit, Coca-Cola getting hit, then you get the idea. There was a certain area within the marketplace that definitely was pulling things, at least to some degree, to the downside, and that mostly affecting the Dow. So as we get into today, the 10-year did hit 4. That wasn't so great. That was early on. But these markets have been very, very interesting today. A fairly tight range early on, up 20, up 50, getting back to flat, up 70, up 120, dipping all the way back down towards flat. Literally between 9:15 and 9:30, that's Central Time, so 10:15 to 10:30 on the East Coast. We went from up 30 to up 205 in literally less than that 15 minutes. And that big spike that we'd seen there. Also saw that happen with the NASDAQ as well. In that little window, that 15-minute window, the NASDAQ went from being down 30 points to being up 70 points. Just crazy how we are shifting around. Crude, right around 79.50. Talking about nat gas each and every day because we like to continue to monitor this very closely. It's still low and it's still below that 675 level even. So we were talking about it being up towards 10, and we had this push to the downside. We broke through 7, and it's been having a hard time getting back up and through that area. You've got the 2-year eased back a little bit at a 4.1, and actually after hitting 4% on the 10-year, pulled back just a little bit towards 3.8. So we'll keep a close eye on that. And certainly that has been one of the big influencers on the markets that we're trading in. Volatility still hanging around that 33 because very well deserved with the up and down and the shifting that we are seeing. Also that VXN now above 38. That says a little bit of a statement as well. Bitcoin just recaptured that 19,000 level. So struggling, had a hard time getting up and over that 20,000, didn't hold very long. And here we sit once again. What's really shifting in the markets right now? Well, healthcare started off strong right out of the gate. A lot of that with Biogen, and I'll talk about that in just a minute. But healthcare was up about 1%. That has improved. Energy was up about 0.5%, now 1.5%. That has improved dramatically. You've got technology, which was down 1.5%, still in negative territory, but down about 0.25%. You can see we are just stair-stepping as we go through the sectors, finding out that everybody seems to be moving a little bit more positive. Communications were up pretty nice early on, call it about 1%. They're up 1.5%. Materials, financials, up more than 1.25%. You get the idea, a nice big shift. I mentioned Biogen. How about this partnership with a Japanese firm as well, with this Alzheimer's drug and the ability of what they are seeing happening there? That actually has sent up Biogen as high as up 40+% early on. I saw that it has pulled back a little bit from that gigantic move, but boy, that really has been something that everybody's talked about for a long time. Biogen's had some ups and some downs with Alzheimer's. This certainly a very large up move, at least starting today. You got Apple down about 3%. That was dragging on the Dow pretty significantly, but then multiple names actually shifting and pulling that Dow to the upside. Apple's still down in negative territory. They were talking about cutting back some of the production of that iPhone 14. Then you've got Ian and the Cat 5 that is going right by basically my house in Florida. Not very happy about this. Everybody is safe as far as we know right now that is down there. Talked to a lot of different people. They were going to different parts of the state, maybe Miami, maybe wherever, but shifting around. And hopefully people have heeded all the warnings, because the warnings have been out there and they've been out there for days. So hopefully people are finding as safe a spot as humanly possible right now. So what else is moving within the markets? Well, positive territory-wise, it was Biogen early on. It's also Lilly. It's Cardinal Health. Healthcare across the board, very, very big in this move to the upside. You've got DocuSign. You've got Netflix. You've got Home Depot. You've got Dow. You even have a lot of those housing names right now. Lennar, D.R. Horton, Pulte, all in positive territory as we speak right now. As I said, Apple was down. You had Qualcomm down. You had KLAC down. You had some of those Chinese names like JD and NetEase. They were to the downside as well. We'll see how all this shakes out. We're just in the first hour of trade. So I mentioned healthcare. How about TDOC? This is a name that's hit on a couple of occasions. We've got this for unusual today. It's trading right around 27.5, just a little bit higher than that. 10,900 of Friday's expiring. So September 30th, that is Friday, the 29 calls. So the stock not too terribly far away from that, $1.50 away from that. Those options are 28 cents up to about 42 cents for 10,900 of those calls that are being bought today in TDOC. Interesting to see that on a big day for healthcare. We'll see how that plays out. Just remember this, very, very short term. This has to happen in the next just over 48 hours, let's be honest. So it is something that we'll keep a close eye on as well. Maybe we'll get a chance to update that tomorrow as well. Folks, have a great day of trading. Be safe. Be careful. Don't be foolish with this Ian at a Cat 5. That's nothing to mess around with. Hopefully you've already reacted, because if you're reacting now, it is a little bit late, but you got to find yourself into a safe spot down in Florida. Prayers with everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.